Charlotte would be good for us. That would be
Mm-hmm.
really good for us.
And then Toledo.
Okay.
Hometown.
Hey, guys.
Shout out to
Hey,
hometown.
Sylvester.
Hey.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
We spent too much time, never too much time chatting about marriage advice and things, but glad we finally hit play to start streaming. What's up, y'all? How you doing? How you doing?
Hey,
up, Greg?
Greg. Yeah,
So let's set some context. Samantha, you're coming to us from Atlanta, yeah?
that's right.
Sylvester, where are you coming from?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri right now. Yeah.
St. Louis. What's going on in St. Louis?
Oh, it's cold here right now. That's what's going on in St. Louis. But lots of great programming with Show Me the World Project. Excited about launching our first student trip to Colombia. So,
First time.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff.
We'll definitely get into that more. I think what's important for the viewing audience now and the listening audience once they check out the podcast, one is how great y'all are. Two, that we have a little bit of historical context. But three, I'm just super excited that we've been chatting about this for a long time. And we've chatted so many different times, but it's a privilege and honor to get you on the podcast and share your brilliance with the rest of the world.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, it's an honor to be here, Greg. Thank you.
We don't got to spend too much time on college stories, but I think quick context was I got to first meet Miss Samantha in 2006, 7 in Philly.
Mm-hmm. 2007.
And then it's been fun to continue to see like TFA journeys that overlapped with that, and then all the great work you're doing now. So I'd love to start. I mean, let's maybe just start with the launch of Show Me the World. And, first let's go about who you guys are, but in the launch of Show Me, of course, because we want to spend a time with all the good insights you can offer to other nonprofit and social impact leaders on the space. So Sam, you want to give folks kind of background about who you are and what led you to Show Me?
Yes, exactly. Actually, Greg and I did a off-campus program in Philadelphia, and it was a very experiential learning experience, which goes hand in hand with Show Me the World. And it's funny, Greg, because when we were in Philadelphia, I had an education class, and since it had the experiential component, went to a high school, learned about Teach for America, and that's really what sparked my interest in applying for Teach for America afterwards. And then here we are, run into you, at the TFA anniversary, and we're Facebook friends, just talking about the TFA journey. So I was placed as a teacher in St. Louis, Missouri at the incredible historic Vashon High School. And I was a 10th grade biology teacher at the time. And I had the opportunity to provide my students with a school swap experience. So, of course, when you think back on this, it's like we are going to a very suburban high school that had a lot of resources. And the whole point of this was to study education equity. So a few students and I go there for the day, very different than the high school that we were at. And our kids were appalled by the differences in educational experiences. And so what happened, our students saw an international travel flyer in the cafeteria, and they said, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they have the opportunity to travel internationally. Like, nobody in my family has ever done that. Nobody has a passport. Like, I've never been out of the state. So that's just unfair. And so students really became the advocates for the launch of our program because they saw that other students in other areas with more resources had the access to these types of opportunities that they did not have. And so we went back to school and they said, let's do this, let's organize. We want these type of educational experiences.
And one thing I'll say before we pass it to Sylvester is Sam has grown in so many like beautiful ways I probably don't even know, just like probably as a person, as a leader. But it's also great because Sam has also just been awesome since I first met her in 2006. So I won't say you haven't changed at all, but it's great that selfishly I can run into you 5 years later than 15 years later. And like the true core of yourself is still the same. outside of all the other growth you've probably done that I don't know about. So I still just want to make sure I name that and say thank you for just continuing to be a wonderful human.
Thank you, Greg. I feel the same way about you. I feel the same way. So it's awesome to have that history and then come back together and still like be in alignment. Like that's just the beautiful thing about community and leadership. And right back at you.
Amen. Sylvester, tell us how you got involved.
Yeah,
you too, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. First, again, thanks for having us on the pod. I'm a big fan of the Square Pizza Pod as one of the top education podcasts, literally online and available. But Samantha, I get an email saying there's a school teacher taking students from Vashon High School to Costa Rica. And I'm like, who in the world, who's doing this? Like, this is just, it's so amazing and unique to the situation, taking students from a school from an under-resourced community, but also a community that my family comes from. I have 14 aunts and uncles on my dad's side who all went to the historic Vashon High School. Cool. That actually, my oldest aunt graduated with Maxine Waters in 1955 from that same high school. And then the Costa Rica side caught my attention because on my mother's side, my favorite big cousin did a study abroad in Costa Rica while he was in college. He loved it so much. He stayed for like 4 years. We went to visit him. It was my first international trip at the age of 18. And again, like I said, he loved it so much, he brought back a kid and a wife. So I have a little cousin who's half St. Louisian, half Costa Rican. Okay, yeah. Shout out to little Dave. He's doing.
He loved it. He enjoyed his time.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm like, how can I help? How can I get involved?
It didn't happen to me and Sam in Philly with us individually or separately, but either way, that was a good trip for them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think what was just so interesting was like seeing someone with such a big heart. At the time, it was just a school project. I know the audience is full of foundations and nonprofit leaders, but before Samantha became executive director, Lurie, Carroll, she was school teacher, right? And seeing the program go from a classroom project to that was called the Show Me Costa Rica project, to expanding it to take students from Nicaragua to Costa Rica to Panama, like literally on the floor of the Panama Canal of the docks, seeing like when you talk about experiential learning of interdisciplinary science, business connections, world view, exposure, all of that stuff happened. I'm like, how I just have to be involved. And it's one of the greatest things I've had the chance to be involved with.
And I appreciate that from both of you. And let's just give the audience some quick context. Show Me the World is so layered in the work that you do and the levels of support you provide. But please give us the 30, 60-second pitch to give the audience of like what it is the organization does.
Yes, so Show Me the World Project is a nonprofit organization, and it's really our mission to empower youth from under-resourced communities in gaining access to transformative educational experiences at home and abroad. So we have created a robust year-long program focused on leadership development, entrepreneurship skills, workforce development, STEM learning, and of course, equipping our leaders with global competencies and a first-time global travel experience.
And you are, if we break it down, you're serving high school students?
Yep, high school students.
And what's the scope? Like I know we told the audience, Sam, you're in Atlanta, Sylvester, you're in St. Louis. Tell us about like the populations or the specific communities you guys serve of high school students.
Yep. So, of course, we started in St. Louis, like Sylvester just talked about, and just also huge kudos to Sylvester because he talked about me being a school teacher, but I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. I mean, we were fundraising in all sorts of different ways, but it really was Sylvester that came with the experience and unlock to say, wow, look at this experience, this incredible educational experience. Now, like, how do we create entrepreneurship opportunities and development and, just development or generation of revenue so that this can become more sustainable? And so he's the one that's responsible for bringing our whole entrepreneurship element, which has taken us to new heights. So the beautiful thing is we have 3 different cohorts within St. Louis. So partnerships with different school districts and high schools. And then recently, this past year, we actually just scaled outside of St. Louis for the first time. We like to call it responsibly replicating. Shout out to our friend Ray, who shared that terminology with us. And so we are responsibly replicating to Kansas City, Missouri right now. And this year, our goal is to support 150 students across the state of Missouri.
That's so great. Sylvester, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask, man, if you'd like to hear an interesting story about how we tapped into this, entrepreneurial experience with the students and the fundraising connection. We're on the pod, so I'll share a good story.
I mean, you're putting me in a tough corner in front of millions of people on the podcast. So it feels like as a nice guy to say yes. So sure, please.
Well, I think it helps to highlight the agency, the student agency that our program delivers, that the students are involved in every aspect of the process from the very origin story, as Samantha mentioned. But so imagine this: we're on the coffee forum in Costa Rica. With our students from St. Louis, from Vashon High School. And we learned some of the best coffee in the world came from Costa Rica because of the high elevation and the volcanic soil. So it was like an aha moment between myself and several students sitting there. It's like, you know what? What if we use coffee as a tool to actually bring this back to our community, to share it with them, to share the joy of this amazing coffee, but also use it as a fundraising tool. And then that idea was totally reinforced as we leave the coffee forum. Samantha's like, we have to go to a grocery store. We have to go. So we get to this grocery store. I'm thinking she just wants to show the cultural differences between one in America and one in Costa Rica. We find Samantha in the coffee aisle. We're like, what are you doing? She's loaded down with like a suitcase full of coffee in her hands. And we're like, what are you doing? She's like, well, a lot of our donors who supported, who gave, said, hey, I'll give money if you just bring me back a bag of coffee. So that really locked it in. We came back, we developed that. And now to this day, the students are involved in every aspect of the process of packaging, roasting, operations, sales. So we're moving to that area of working on those durable skills like communication, collaboration, critical thinking, the things that they'll need to be successful in the workforce. And then on top of that, it's such an interdisciplinary approach. In education, we all know they talk a lot about things happening in silos. We break down those silos. So they experience business, global travel, expanded worldview, being on a working coffee forum, seeing the science connection to the seedling going into the ground, but then also understanding global importing, exporting. And these are kids from under-resourced communities who are sophomores, juniors. So we are really preparing them for future success in the workforce.
And I think, so many cool aspects of what you just shared about that story and the evolution, but just to reinforce it for the audience, because that was a lot. But high school program focused on supporting high school kids, all the leadership development, entrepreneurship skills, small business skills, you guys are teaching them. But then you are supporting and creating opportunities for these lovely babies to go from St. Louis or from throughout all of Kansas City and Missouri as well, to physically take them to Costa Rica, to go through the coffee process, to then understand not only how coffee is made, but then the business of coffee as well.
Absolutely.
Nailed it. That's it.
I think that continues to be so great for y'all. And since we've known each other for a minute, I feel semi-comfortable saying this. Is like, I don't get a lot of stuff right in my life. But when I think the first chat we had with Sam and Sylvester about like the concept of it, and as it was kind of continued to grow, I was like, oh, you guys got a serious thing happening right now. And even if it wasn't like as big as it currently is today in February 2026, I felt so confident that y'all were going to continue to crush it, because as you were like finalizing everything, I just knew how innovative it was and like the great leaders you guys are. I was like so pumped to see it grow. And now that you guys continue to grow, it's like, it's awesome. It's so cool.
Thanks, Greg. And I mean, that means a lot. And also our time with you was transformational for us, you know, as leaders, just the guidance that you offered us. You know, Sylvester and I were just reflecting on the fact that when when we shared with you a couple years ago, like our highest grant was $2,500, $5,000, right? And so you know, here we are a couple years later with a huge investment. Shout out to the Kauffman Foundation for really seeing the vision for Show Me the World and bringing that access to Kansas City. And so now we've had a huge unlock, you know, across the state too, to say, hey, this is like really needed for our youth and our community. And so just thank you so much, you know, for seeing that in us as well and your guidance. And it's definitely so rewarding to see that and how much our community has like poured into us to help us develop to get to this point where we've now expanded to our very first like new region.
Yeah, 100%. To piggyback on what Samantha said, going from that, I'll say we're fans of your work and Sherm Co's work so much that I still work out in my Sherm Co dry fit shirt.
Man.
So let's get the important stuff out the way.
And a few more on the website. Brothers that want to get involved.
The work, man, you helped us. Your team helped. Sherm Co really helped us with our first strategic plan that we put into place, and we were actually able to execute a year early on that plan. But that led to us going from those $2,500 grants to now receiving, you know, grants from foundations like the Kauffman Foundation of 6 figures and more. And so that's because of the belief in the work that we're doing and the strategies, you know, that we have put in place and the implementation of it. So, yeah.
Well, all that credit goes to y'all. I appreciate the kudos, but all that goes to you all and the hard work. But maybe give some advice to other nonprofit leaders out there, because to your guys' point, like many, like maybe every nonprofit, right? You started with 2,500, 5,000, you're scrapping, you're doing your best. And now you're getting serious 6-figure, $250,000, $500,000 grants, growing to multiple states in a responsible way. Sam, as you said, I love that part. So you are, even though maybe you guys don't tell yourself this, you're the envy of many other nonprofit leaders across the country. So walk them through like how you got from point A to point B to where you are now.
That is a great question, Greg. Great question. So I think, first of all, just like going from school teacher to co-founder, executive director, I think the first acknowledgement is just that I knew what I was good at and I knew what I needed support in. And so when I came across somebody like Sylvester Chisholm, right? And our third co-founder, Dr. Boima Aduapong, who was a Washington University PhD candidate at the time, who has had major influence in our science programming. To be honest, I think it was like the reflection of like, hey, this is what I can do really well. And there's so much that like I don't know, and then I have to learn, and being able to recognize, well, first making connections and then recognizing like the ways that different people can support the growth of the organization. I think that was really key, because there was no way that Samantha Lurie, as a high school teacher, and took her kids alongside the community on the first international trip, could ever grow it to what it was by myself. And so I think that's like the first step, is just knowing what your strengths are and what your limitations are and where you need to learn and grow, and find different teammates that can help build the vision and really turn it into action. That would be my first piece of advice.
Yep.
Yeah, I would point back to Samantha as one of her superpowers is she is a phenomenal team builder. Um, but part of what helps her is, one, she has a very compelling vision and mission that's been identified for Show Me the World, that is attractive for other people to bring their greatness, bring their skills, bring their dopeness to the program to add more value to it. People want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So being able to communicate that clearly in the impact that you're making and staying focused year after year, 13 years of this, growing from a grassroots project from a school teacher into a thriving nonprofit, it requires that focus and dedication. And I will also say, in a very simple, tangible way, honor your word. Honor your word as a leader and as an organization. That builds trust for the long time, for your team. But then also, as you innovate and you say you're going to do things, deliver on those promises and do those things, right? But then also, even as we apply for grants, and we know how that works with foundations, sometimes the first time you apply, it's just like, we just want to get to know you and say hello. And you may have to apply 2, 3, or 4 times. But letting foundations, donors, and funders know that we are committed to doing this, with your support, or we will find a way to get it done, so that when you come back and apply the second time, like we're telling you, we said we were going to do these things, we did those things, and we actually did a little bit more. Or we're moving in that same direction. That helps to build trust, with the philanthropic community, and that is necessary as you grow with with the relationships, philanthropy, donors, stakeholders, board members, staff, and the people that you're actually serving with your organization.
And I think a quick add on to that is, with Sylvester specifically, like, just innovation, thinking outside of the box. Like, he has brought so much of that to our organization. And just hearing his advice right now about even like foundations and whatnot. I mean, we had years of no's, years and years and years of no's before we had our first yes, right? And so, but what happened was, it was like, okay, so here's a no, compartmentalized. There's a no here. That doesn't mean we're stopping with what we know to be a phenomenal vision for youth, right? And so, as Sylvester said, then we go back and say, well, hey, we launched this coffee product now, right? And we're able to generate X amount of revenue, even if it was $500 of revenue at the beginning, right? $1,000. And so just demonstrating that ability to think outside of the box, come up with different solutions, be very innovative, I think it has really helped us lead in a different way for our team, for ourselves, and to going back to our partners to show, like, hey, we're not giving up on this. And it has led to way more than revenue generation, but like critical skill building for our youth leaders because of, the no's early on, and still no's. We all still have lots of no's, and it continues to push innovation for us.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Greg, and we're having a bridesmaid thing, and one more thing. And
I got to mute my thing, so go ahead, just go for it.
And one more thing. But no, I would say, like, because I really want this to be helpful to
please
to pull back the layers on how we think about things. I really believe the successful nonprofit organizations of the future will have an earned revenue component to it. I think that actually helps with presentations and applying for grants and foundations and donors, that we're not just walking in rooms with our handout, but we're finding creative ways to leverage the work we're doing to do something on our own. Say, I mean, if it was an arts nonprofit, like Who's telling you that you can't have your own art gallery connected to it, or sell limited edition prints connected to the work that you're doing? Like thinking creatively about how your organization can earn revenue and connect it to your programming. One helps with long-term financial stability, diversifying your funding strategy, and then also it helps with branding. It's another touch point where someone experiences Show Me the World project. We're in your kitchen. We're in your ride to work in your coffee cup. We're at your office. Right now, because of that work, it's turned into other people seeing opportunity. We're the official coffee at the Lambert St. Louis Airport now. Like, so from start, you never know where these ideas what they could turn into, but that's other brand recognition opportunities, not just to earn revenue, but brand recognition opportunities, so people can see the good things you're doing in the community.
It's a beautiful business model, and so many like nuggets you guys drop that we won't have time to break down all of them. But I think outside of all the great work you guys are doing in the innovation, is like the actual product is really good. As a customer of you guys, it's not only just like charity and it's nice because we're supporting kids, but it's like really good work, really smart business, and the actual product, the actual coffee is very good.
That's necessary, and that's necessary too. Let me say that too, because if your organization represents like a high level of performance, of presence, whatever product or service offering has to also match that same way, to that same standard. So our coffee is, organic, premiums, fair trade, single origin. You can track it all the way back to the farmer. So that represents the same high level quality that Samantha and our education team are putting forward with curriculum instruction and real world experiences.
Yes.
We're already coming up on time soon, but I want to get to a few quick things. I think you guys have an exciting day, more than a thing, coming up called Show Me the World Day. So I'd love for y'all to share more about that.
Yes. So Show Me the World Day is coming up on March 16th. It is our annual campaign where we celebrate the past, we celebrate the future, and raise funds, of course, for our program and our organization. The key thing is March 16th is so special to us because on March 16th, 2013, going back to the beginning of this podcast and the beginning trailblazers, the students that said, hey, I'm standing up for myself. I'm advocating for myself. I want to have excellent educational opportunities like other students do in more resourced areas. I want to go on this trip. I want to make this happen. And so that March 16th, 2013, we landed in Costa Rica for the very first time. And so we honor that day. We honor the past and celebrate the future and where we're headed on that day. So we join you. We actually just found out that we have a match, a dollar for dollar match event on that day. So, add our Instagram, Show Me the World Project, and visit our website, showmetheworldproject.org, and just come visit, learn about the journey. And if you'd like to support, we've got lots of ways to do that as well.
And then I think, so we'll definitely plug that. And you guys are one of my favorite groups to support anyway. So you'll have some sort of financial and other resources coming your way. I'll promise you that. But speaking of innovation too, you guys also mentioned this really cool idea around the Show Me the Cause platform, which I think is already going to speak to how innovative you guys are, which is a through line from this conversation. But please, one of you share more about the Show Me the Cause platform.
Yeah, absolutely. We found success with using coffee as a fundraising tool to help fund these international learning journeys for our students, to help fundraise for our organization. So, and we know we're familiar. Some people may be familiar with like a Double Good popcorn fundraising, virtual fundraising. We applied a similar model for our coffee. So it's premium coffee, as we mentioned before, single origin, fair trade. But organizations can now stand up their own websites at showmethecause.com, where we'll create a fundraising page for them. And we handle all the shipping, logistics, and they receive 50% of the proceeds to support their nonprofit, to support their youth sports team, to support their Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts troop or PTOs. So we have a lot of interest from other organizations that are also taking students out of the country. Or our nonprofit friends are like, I'm so tired of cookies and all these things that I don't want or I won't use. Coffee and tea are the second and third most drank beverages in the world. So this works as something that people will actually appreciate, enjoy. So yeah, we want to help other organizations, and then those proceeds kick back to supporting our students and help pushing our mission forward to expand opportunities for more youth.
Such a cool evolution of the business model that I'm not surprised, but it's incredible to see. And so I think, as you said, Sylvester groups can go on the website and figure out how to plug into that opportunity.
Yes, sir. Showmethecause.com. Showmethecause.com.
Good. We'll get you out of here maybe on one. You guys are so giving in the work that you do, in the servant leadership philosophy that I know you guys follow, but curious, what can our audience do to support you, or what can the listening audience, who can they connect you with to support you two as leaders, but also the incredible students you're serving?
Great question. I think one thing is just come join our community, come join the Show Me the World family. Follow us on Instagram. Our journey, our students are working behind the scenes, creating content, highlighting their trip experiences. So just come check us out, come join our journey, follow it along, send encouragement to the students. That really does mean a lot. Join our newsletters. So that's the first thing. And then, of course, if you love coffee, if you are a coffee lover, I'll kick that over to Sylvester as well about our options too.
Yes. From that standpoint, that's at the very easiest thing to do. If you like Costa Rican coffee, Ethiopian, Colombian, Honduras, Peru, we have lots of varieties from the best coffee forms in the world. Again, our platform to help us would be to maybe even help yourself and to support with showmethecause.com, doing the fundraiser, ordering coffee, or for even your funding community. This Show Me the World project is good soil in terms of putting an investment in. The return on that investment is clear, is direct, is visible and tangible as it relates to making an impact on youth and preparing them for the workforce of the future. So we're open to all those conversations, and we really like to build relationships. So we're grateful to be on the Square Pizza Pod and talk with you, Greg. I had to twist your arm to get us on here. I had to send 5 resumes.
The whole time was truth until the end. You wanted to start with the lie. You wanted to start fabricating at the end.
And Greg, just to extend our gratitude to you. I did have a flashback earlier of, the Worcester versus Earlham basketball games that I was playing in, and then the football games that you were playing in, and coming to some of those games, and just thinking back on the journey and how that still shows up, for all of us today, and just the genuine person that you are. Just really appreciate you for all that you do for the entire community and all the voices that you elevate on this podcast. And we're just, it's honored to learn from your community and be a part of it. And so, yep, like Sylvester said, just to echo that, we are innovative. We love new ideas. We love connecting with people. So feel free to reach out to, and just a relationship build as well.
No, I appreciate all that and all the gems you all have dropped. And I'm ashamed to say, but you guys maybe know this about me, maybe you don't. Some people call me frugal. I think I call myself just intentional about where I spend my money. And I didn't know how bad of the coffee I was drinking until I started buying your guys'. And in full transparency, I was I'm going to buy it, but I don't got all this money to be a subscriber. And then I got it, and I was like, shit, I got to keep doing it. So y'all got a whole bunch of money from me the past few years. And I didn't even know I liked good coffee until I started getting your guys' coffee. And now it's my favorite day when it comes. I'm usually checking, when's that shit coming? I got to update it. So it's my favorite day of the month when the coffee comes.
We are so glad that we were able to elevate your palate also.
Elevate and educate. You took the money, but it's a good investment. It's elevation and education about what I didn't know.
Incredible.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate you.